Mario is undoubtedly the most recognizable video game character of all time. So it's safe to say that almost everyone, no matter what part of the world they're in, knows who Mario is, or can at least recognize him. He is the face of Nintendo, their mascot. The definition of the word mascot, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, is a person, animal, or object adopted by a group as a symbolic figure, especially to bring them good luck. In Japan, however, their view of mascots is a bit different from a cultural perspective. While Western mascots are usually thought of to represent brands or sports teams, Japan has a mascot for virtually everything. For example, every single prefecture in Japan has their own mascot. There's even a term for this phenomenon called yurukiara, roughly meaning lighthearted character. These types of mascots are created to promote a place or region, event, organization, or business, and are characterized by their cute designs, which often incorporate elements of local culture, history, or produce. They could be made by local governments or other organizations to help the economy and tourism in general. Either that, or they're created by a company to help build on their corporate identity, just like Mario. Fun fact aside, the point is that mascots are an important aspect of Japanese culture. Seeing as Nintendo is a Japanese company, their products were not exempt from the same treatment. And naturally, when they come up with mascots for everything, not all of them are guaranteed to reach the same level of notoriety. So I wanted to bring some attention to the Nintendo mascots you may or may not have forgotten about, or for that matter, have even heard of in the first place. I'm going to talk about their appearances within their respective consoles and games, as well as references made to them in other various media, starting with Diskun. Created in 1983, he is the mascot for the Famicom Disk System, which was an add-on to the Famicom console that allowed people to purchase bigger games on floppy disks instead of cartridges. His coloring is inspired by the same yellow that many of these Famicom discs were, and he would also appear on the box art for the games. He made his in-game debut in Smash Ping Pong in 1987 on the title and windscreens. Other than that, he wasn't very present within the system itself, but he has made appearances in other games in various Nintendo media, the most notable being Super Smash Bros. Melee as a collectible trophy. Apart from that, he also appears in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as an icon for online players, as well as an Ace-type spirit. He's a mystery mushroom costume in Super Mario Maker, he appears on a sign in the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and a Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch in the shape of Diskun was a prize in a Famicom Grand Prix contest. Playyan, introduced in 2005, is interesting because it's actually the name of a piece of hardware released exclusively in Japan for the Game Boy Advance SP, but was represented by a little white humanoid guy under the same name. The device itself was actually a media player for the Game Boy Advance SP that would let it play both audio and video. Playyan, the character, would hop up and down a staircase, with each stair representing a piece of audio that you could select and play. He would also dance along with the music you selected, which is pretty cute. The device also had its own mini-games in which Playyan was the star of each. Notably, there was a successor to the Playyan called the Playyan Micro, where Playyan the character was replaced with the sprite of Mario. But fear not, because Playyan does end up making appearances in both Rhythm Heaven and Rhythm Heaven Megamix. Nindori, often referred to as Nindori-kun, was created in 2003 as part of a reader design contest, which asked readers to create an Animal Crossing villager that would also serve as the mascot for the Japanese exclusive Nintendo Dream magazine. He was created by an artist named Suzukaze-san from Tokyo. His name likely derives from the shortened version of Nintendo Dream, which is Nindori, and first appeared in volume 94. Now, if you don't live in Japan like me, you probably don't recognize him as an Animal Crossing character, which would make sense given his only actual appearance in the series was in Dubotsu no Mori E+, which is an expanded version of Animal Crossing released on the Nintendo GameCube exclusively in Japan in 2003. Nindori can only move to the player's town if his e-reader card, which was exclusively included in volume 102 of the magazine, is scanned. With that though, he has continued to be the magazine's mascot separate from the Animal Crossing series since he first appeared, and is usually seen around the title of the magazine. Fun little fact about him, his appearance is actually based on the GameCube itself, specifically the Japanese exclusive orange GameCube. His black eyes represent the GameCube's controller ports, the sides of his face have fanning vents, and the back of his head has the lid used for inserting game discs. The Wii Fit balance board, introduced in 2007, is weird because you're probably thinking, that's a piece of hardware, which you would be correct, but if you've ever played Wii Fit, you would also know that it becomes a sentient character of its own. The first thing you see when booting up the game for the first time is the Wii Fit balance board, waking up and greeting you. It gives you health statistics and tips, guides you through the body and balance tests, and shows you how to play the games. It also hangs out on the home screen before you select games to play. Its only other appearance is in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as a background character in the Wii Fit stage, as well as a Master Spirit. I forgot to mention that the balance board also makes an appearance in Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U and 3DS as a background character in the Wii Fit Studio stage, as well as being a trophy. Now, some might argue that the Wii Fit trainers should be considered the mascots, but seeing as they're basically basically blank slates with little to no personality, I wouldn't consider them to be mascots by the standards we established earlier. The Wii Fit board, seeing as it's a very large required accessory for the game that also teaches you how to play it, that feels more representative to me. Flipnote Frog, introduced in 2008, is the mascot for the Nintendo animation software Flipnote Studio 3D, and Flipnote Hatena. It's a little pixel frog colored orange in Flipnote Studio and colored green in Flipnote Hatena. It functions as a guide to drawing, copying, pasting, erasing, and using Flipnote Studio in general, appearing whenever you need assistance. The Parakeet, introduced in 2008, is the mascot for the DSi and 3DS sound and camera apps, and looks like a simple green and yellow parakeet. For the DSi sound app, tapping the parakeet on the main menu will make it chirp or repeat audio that you record. For the Nintendo 3DS sound app, the parakeet is on the touchscreen of the main menu, and will chirp and repeat audio much like the DSi, but there are now a few more parakeets on the top screen. In the SD card audio menu, a blue parakeet can appear as well. In the 3DS camera, the parakeet now appears on the main screen and in the menu to view photos and videos. In both modes, the parakeet gives you tips when you tap on it, and also has a menu for looking at any tips you've gotten already. In Super Mario Maker for the Wii U, tapping the eye on the main menu will cause the parakeet to appear, and then it will record and repeat whatever you say into the microphone.
That fucking bird that I hate.
That fucking bird that I hate. That fucking bird that I hate.
That fucking bird that I hate.
There are also Nintendo official parakeet levels in the Makers section of the game. In the 3DS version, the parakeet is one of the sound effect items that you can unlock later in the game. You can also record audio when the effect is activated, but this apparently doesn't work on online levels. Nikki, introduced in 2011, is the mascot Mii for Swapnote mainly. She has a brown bob, brown eyes, red reading glasses, and is wearing a light green cardigan with a white undershirt and black skirt. In Swapnote, she gives you tips and rewards, but also makes appearances in multiple other apps and games. Just downloading Swapnote adds her to your Mii collection in Street Pass Mii Plaza, for example. Her bigger appearances include Super Mario Maker, where she is an unlockable costume Mario, and then in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where she is an assist trophy and an ace support spirit. Smaller appearances include Art Academy, Lessons for Everyone, Swap Doodle, and even her own game Nikki's Travel Quiz. A fun fact about her, though, is that she actually made an unofficial appearance in Shantae Half Genie Hero under the name Icky. Those who donated enough money to the game on Kickstarter were allowed to design an enemy type that would appear in the game. Submitted by Roger C., Icky is very clearly a reference to Nintendo's Nikki. Now for this one I'm going to do 2 in 1 because they are a bit similar, that being the Street Pass Bunny and Arcade Bunny, introduced in 2011 and 2014 respectively. Street Pass Bunny, also known as Sales Bunny, is from the Street Pass app on the Nintendo 3DS. They're a pinkish white bunny with a Mii silhouette, and they sell you the Street Pass Premium Update and the DLC games for Street Pass Mii Plaza. Arcade Bunny is from the Nintendo Badge Arcade app on Nintendo 3DS. He's a pink bunny wearing a black vest, a red button-up shirt, and blue jeans. He tells the player how to play the game and what badges they can get. Street Pass Bunny only seems to appear in the Street Pass app, but I will note that a wandering hero in the game Find Me, when summoned by another hero, also takes the form of a rabbit similar to the bunny. Arcade Bunny's other appearances include being an assist trophy in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and in Super Mario Maker as a mystery mushroom costume. The eShop bag, introduced in 2011, is an orange shopping bag with disconnected feet and a smiling face. It appeared as an animated icon when downloading games or apps in the Nintendo eShop for the Wii U and 3DS. Whenever you purchased or downloaded something on 3DS or Wii U, this cheerful bag would appear on screen as a visual cue for the process. Unfortunately, as of 2023, you cannot see it appear anymore as the online services have shut down for both the Wii U and the 3DS. Mr. AR from the AR carts for the 3DS, introduced in 2011, is a little yellow cube clearly modeled after the question block cube from Super Mario, except they don't actually have a question mark. He would show up on the splash screen for the AR game itself, as well as have his own card that you could play around with. Inette-kun, introduced in 2011, is the mascot for the Nintendo 3DS settings, specifically the internet settings. It's said that he's supposed to be the personification of the 3DS itself, with a large upper screen and a smaller lower screen. His functionality was very limited. All he did was explain what the different parts of the internet settings were when you tapped on him, but he is cute, so. And last but not least, Amelia N, introduced in 2017, is the mascot for the Nintendo Switch News and Info Center. She has a blue bob, wears a long orange sweater dress, a yellow headband, red earrings, and gray shoes. Back when the Switch first launched, there were a bunch of posts in the Nintendo Switch Information Center made by her acting as a news anchor of sorts, where she gave tips and special info regarding the Switch and how to use it. Over time, however, she was mostly abandoned, now only appearing on the Switch 1 update news posts. She also still appears in the news bookmarks and save channels sections explaining what those respective sections are for. Good news is you can still go back and view these early days news posts, so go and say hi if you want. There are some trivia facts about her on her wiki page, but none of them have sources, so I would take them with a grain of salt. We do know, however, that her name in Spanish is Lucia instead of Amelia. Though a lot of these mascots have been forgotten by Nintendo, Nintendo or overall never truly acknowledged by the public, there are people out there who have lovingly given these characters another life in the form of mods, fan games, and fan art. But at the end of the day, not every Nintendo mascot is going to become a household name like Mario did. However, each of these characters represent a moment in Nintendo's history regardless, and to an extent, its roots in Japanese culture as well. Once again, going back to the concept of Yuru Kiara, I do think that there's something to be said for the idea of making a new character to represent different parts of daily life. So even though these characters don't have a spotlight, they still made these different games, apps, and hardware from Nintendo way more entertaining and engaging with their presence. And maybe that's all they needed to do. If you feel like I missed anything or got anything wrong, please let me know in the comments. This video in particular was tricky because it's kind of hard to nail down what is truly considered a mascot, so I'm curious to know what you guys think. Anyway, that's all I got for today. See you next time. Bye!